starting. My text messages can go away, but pictures, so in a moment it'll pop up here. And that breakfast bar you were talking about, I have a picture of it somewhere. Maybe I don't.
Well, I never got to watch the Coachella videos.
We can watch those too. Oh, maybe this is it. You can kind of see this. So I have a bar, so I have microphones on both sides.
Didn't you move the TV over there?
The TV's over there now. It used to be over here. But we're starting the stream here. And it should be doing something because the computer's running.
How often do you change the case on your phone?
The other one's battery powered, so.
Oh.
So there we are. So there's going to be a delay, obviously, because this is straight to the computer. And I'm recording. And then this is what people are seeing on YouTube over here. So there's going to be a little bit of a delay. But anyways. I'll find some weird blooper during this conversation to like open up with, because that's usually what I do, is I'll find like some awkward moment in the conversation and kick off the podcast with that, and then somehow blend in at whatever point we start talking about stuff. So
did we decide what time we're leaving tonight? Because it's 4.
Did we decide what time we're leaving tonight? Because it's 4. So for those of you, if I'm editing this properly, Nicole and I went to go see Cascade for the redo show yesterday in, where were we? What was that? At the Hollywood Palladium. Then Nicole had tickets to go see Cascade again tonight with her friend Lisa, but Lisa's sick and can't make it, so guess who gets to fill in? This guy. So we're going back-to-back Cascade shows, but Nicole was looking online, and for some reason they're saying that we need to be there at 6:30, and some people are saying that Cascade's not going to go on until 11, so that's going to be quite the investment. So we haven't decided what time we're going to go, so we might have to cut this podcast, cut it short a little early because it's 4 o'clock. Now, we may have to end up leaving around like an hour and a half.
I'm probably going to need to nap before we go.
Okay, well, we'll make this one quick.
So we're probably not leaving at 5 or 6, however.
Okay.
Who really knows?
Let's see if anybody's live on this chat here.
I don't think we're,
Nobody's even here. Okay, cool. So anyways, so you just got back from China.
I did.
2 days ago? 3 days
4
ago?
days ago?
Oh.
However, having been on vacation for over 2 weeks, well, having been in another country for 2 weeks and having gone to Coachella 3 days prior to that,
right,
my concept of time and date is pretty non-existent.
Right. So about the time that I was riding in a trunk in Coachella is about the last time Nicole was in the United States. She flew basically from Coachella to China for 2 weeks, came back. We went to a show Wednesday night in Hollywood. I went home Thursday, came back yesterday for Cascade, and then today's Saturday.
Yes. So I came back late Monday night. We went to the concert Wednesday night. You drove back Thursday morning. And then Friday night, you came back and we went to Cascade Round 1. And tonight is
Cascade Round 2. So this girl has been traveling the world and got back to LA and has not stopped going to shows because she's an animal like that. And to be on my team, you have to have that kind of tenacity or you just can't hang. We don't want you part of our club. You can't sit here. You can't sit with us if you don't party that hard. So, but
it's not even about partying that hard. It's just about living life to its full potential.
That too, and not complaining. Because we talked about it earlier today at brunch, but for the people on the podcast, like I get it. You know, a lot of people, you have like responsibilities or you have things in your life that keep you from doing things that you want to do, going out and having fun, having a social life. You know, I don't know what you're up against, but I know that I've been able to work multiple jobs, have responsibilities to friends, family, bills, all of that stuff. Still try to keep myself in the gym and still go to shows and do things. And I know Nicole, she knows too. I mean, she can speak for it, but it's obviously like it's a priority, right? Like if you have a priority to have a good time and to go see live music and live shows, you're going to make the time, right?
Yes.
Whereas some people, they're just not going to. Some people just want to it's like obstacles that don't really exist. You know what I mean? Like, for example, like today we were saying we wanted to possibly go to the beach, but it's like, we know it's just down the street, but it just seems like it was just too much work to like just get ourselves motivated and going. So I get it, you know, but we definitely won't let our energy level or our lack of motivation keep us from going to the concert tonight, right? Because the concert is the priority.
Correct.
So I don't know, people. I don't know what your priorities are, but I'm pretty sure you can find time to go out there and enjoy yourself if you could just stop putting fake obstacles in front of yourself.
It's just a matter of priorities.
Right. I mean, it's basically like the same thing with work, right? The whole reason why it's hard to go to work, or I didn't want to go to work anymore, was because I didn't enjoy it. But I could easily get up at 7 a.m. to go golfing. I went with my buddy Aaron at 6:30 in the morning on whatever day to go golfing. Was not a problem. Woke up with a smile on my face. I was in the middle of a really awesome power nap Friday before I came here, but I got off my ass and drove from San Diego to here to be in time for the show last night because I wanted to do it. It was a priority. I enjoyed doing it. So if ever I find myself in a situation where I can't get to where I need to go, that's because I don't want to go there. And in the future, make a mental note. Don't agree to do that kind of stuff. Even if it is your job, find another job. Find something else find another way to make money or to spend your time so that you're not dreading where you need to go and where you're going to spend your time, because you really only get like one shot at this, you know? I mean, I know people that have spent their time chasing their dreams and it was cut short. You know, their time on this earth is over with. And I know some people that feel like, you know, some people live forever and never accomplish anything. So, point of the story is, people, we're fucking going to Cascade twice this weekend, no matter what you say. But, so what's the word? 6:30? Is that what it says? Nicole's researching it?
He's been tweeting to get there at 6:30. The tickets actually say 8 p.m. I still have no idea. I don't want to get there too late, and then 20,000 people there. Security's going to be terrible. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to get stuck in that and miss it, but at the same time, we got there last night at 10 and he didn't go until 12, so...
Yeah, and also horrible security.
The openers weren't great last night, which I'm kind of surprised about, because I feel like usually he has really good openers.
Right.
So, I don't want... Thinking if we leave at 9, that should be fine.
Yeah, 9 sounds like a good time. I mean, I don't know what kind of security. Like the security last night, we were watching these three dudes that had looked like a VIP table, and bottle service looked like it didn't show up till late. But these 3 dudes were by themselves having a really good time, having their own little buddy dance off at the VIP table, and then they just got swarmed by bottle rats and promoters, essentially. Pushed these guys from the couch that they had, tucked them way into this little corner.
The head of Insomniac.
Right, but at the same time, I mean, if you're those guys...
We also didn't see them with bottles, so if they didn't actually pay for bottle service...
Oh. Do you think maybe the 3 guys could have actually...
I don't know. Well, maybe there was only bottle service for the head of Insomniac because he's Insomniac.
Right. So maybe they just paid for the VIP couches, just they didn't pay for bottle service. Okay, that makes sense. Anyways, but long story short, from the security to the stage lighting, I mean, there was like a good, Nicole estimates about 15 minutes or so. I would guess that was about how long the laser lights went out. So the fog machines are rolling, music's going. There was like some purple lighting that was going on, but like the lasers and all the spotlighting, everything just went completely out. And I don't think that was intentional, because it really put a damper on the whole situation, and to the point where we were just like, well, should we just go? Like, do we even want to be here anymore? You know? So we left around 1:30, and I guess the set ended at 3. But I think the decision was easy for Nicole, because she knew she was coming back out tonight. For me, I was just like, you know what? I'll catch him next time. I'll see him at a festival or something. Like, it sucks that this didn't work out, but
this might be like a testament to how I live in my life too, that you're like, let's just go, it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, maybe we should wait this out and it'll get better.
Right. It's symbolic for how you handle everything else in your life.
And then I was like, okay, fine, let's go, because I'm going to see him again tomorrow night. And it was different production-wise. Like,
right.
Even though the production completely went out and we're still
Mm-hmm.
undecided of whether that was intentional or not.
Right.
Like, our expectations were not that it was going to be like a club or a festival, that like the lasers were going to be going crazy.
Right.
That it was meant to be more intimate, a deep house, and more about the music and less about the production. But
right.
still, it seemed weird that there was 0 lights on in the place, like not even ambient lighting, so that we
right.
could see him doing what he's doing.
Right. Well, yeah, and that's exactly what. So for anybody who doesn't know what the concept for a redo show or redux or whatever it is, I've been saying it both ways. I still haven't figured out which way is the proper way to pronounce it. But the idea is to, there's like a remix, right, where you can take a song that's already there, and you can sort of change and alter things and modify it to make it sound like a similar version of the original. But what a redo show is trying to go back to the original work and sort of dig back into that old deep house style that he had in the beginning, and try to play some of the classics. So, if you're really looking for bangers and, you want to jump around like you're at the World Cup, which some of them were doing, there's always like a group of people like jumping around with whatever country of origin that they're from, with their flag around their shoulders, or some dudes were topless. It wasn't one of those shows. So with the lighting going to be out or on, it still would have been more of a groovy, smaller, intimate, deep house set versus like the Sahara tent at, midnight on, day 3 at Coachella.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tonight's supposed to be that. Tonight's going to be at the convention center. So this is probably going to be more of a performance rather than paying homage to the classics, right?
That's what I would imagine.
Okay.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see as we go back. I have limited clothes here. I think I'm going to be that weirdo that's wearing his Cascade T-shirt to the Cascade concert. I definitely got that hat. That hat's pretty bomb. I'll probably wear that hat too.
Well, everyone last night was decked out in merch anyways, and it was a lot of old merch. So,
so maybe I'll be fine.
New merch.
Yeah, I'm gonna just skinny pants and some Vans, flip flops. I totally could have went in my pajamas last night after seeing some of those people, what they were wearing. Hollywood was looking fly last night. But enough of that. Tell me about China. You got your pictures up in your laptop here.
Yeah.
So Nicole took 1,800 pictures, right?
Yes.
Does it feel like 18?
Not really. So we can kind of skim through them, which your viewers can't see, but they can. Anything that you see of note. So these are all the pictures of the Great Wall. So a lot of these are from the bus when we were driving there, because I wasn't sure how much of it I would see, or how many like landscape wide angle shots I would get once we got there.
Okay, so you got there.
There's different sections of the Great Wall that you can visit.
Okay.
So some of it has been restored, a lot of it, I guess, has not.
Mm-hmm.
So this probably was we were in Beijing, so this is probably one of the sections that they restored before the Olympics were in Beijing. So
okay.
This would be obviously a popular spot for people to go see.
So how far into your vacation was this trip to the Great Wall?
The first day.
First day. So you got there at night, and then the next morning you're like, pack your camera, we're going to the Great Wall?
Correct.
Okay. What was the temperature like out there? Compared to LA, like?
It was more humid overall, but Beijing was well, the Great Wall, because we're up in the mountains, it was chillier. So they had said, like, oh, it's going to get warm, but we're going to be up in the mountains, so make sure that you bring a jacket. So I was, like, thinking it's going to be mid-70s, so I'm, like, in a T-shirt with a flannel. They're like, I don't... And I go downstairs, and some people are, like, wearing puff coats, and I'm like, oh, shit. So I go get a beanie, get a jacket, get a hoodie, because I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be warm enough. And it ended up being fine. I just shed layers as I was climbing, because... It started off cold. My hands were cold. My face was cold.
Oh, wow.
But once I started moving, then it was okay.
So do you think...
Here you can see part of it.
So what we're looking at now is she's got some pictures of the Great Wall from the Great Wall, right? So it wraps around. It goes through this...
As I was climbing it, yes.
Yeah, through the hills. Tons of people, too. I imagine that place probably never stops.
Yeah, so I actually was not expecting that many people there, and I don't know if it's because we were there prior to a holiday, so maybe there was just more people there than normal, but not that I was expecting it to be empty, per se, but maybe some of the photos will show, like, just how crowded it was. And selfie sticks galore. Like, I thought someone was going to take me out with a selfie stick, which I found to be really obnoxious.
There were a lot of selfie sticks. Was it of all cultures embracing the selfie stick, or who would you say was the biggest offender of the selfie stick? Everyone. So
there was a lot of Asian tourists, so maybe Chinese people from other areas of China that were in Beijing because of the upcoming holiday. Or
what was the holiday?
May Day.
What's May Day?
I guess it's a communist holiday. I don't know too much.
Fucking communists.
I don't want to talk about something that I'm not actually educated about, but I guess every country celebrates it but the United States.
Really?
Yeah.
Something I need to look into.
Someone say something about like another holiday, which I can't remember, but
like Cinco de Mayo?
No.
No, that's not a May Day?
Could have been. That could explain the influx of people, but I've also heard that the Great Wall has lots of stairs.
Okay.
But there's a lot of ramps. So when all this was being built, they weren't necessarily building stairs so much as they just had inclines. But some of the stairs I thought maybe would decrease the crowd or deter them, but it didn't.
Right.
So I wanted to get photos illustrating that.
Well, I imagine when they built it, in order to get permits and everything, paperwork together, you'd have to have handicap access for wheelchairs in ancient China. They built it.
Well, to restore it, you do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do. So, of all the people there, was it mixed, like ethnicities, races? Like, did Americans stand out? Did you notice a lot of them, or was it all just kind of like a?
No, I mean there was a ton of tour groups, but there was tons of Chinese people. Like I was expecting more tourists, like American tourists or Europeans.
Well, I guess it's like, anything else. If you're going to go to DC, you're probably going to get a lot of Americans there too. I mean, it is their wall after all. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure they're still interested in seeing it. So, so this is day one. It looks warm. It doesn't look like too many people are really.
So here you could see how smoggy it is. Beijing is really has really bad pollution.
Did you do the face mask thing when you were there?
I did not, but I think some people were. So when I got a little further along, then it cleared up a little bit more, and I had better visibility. So like here, this side, it's less smoggy, and like you can see that the sky is blue, and you can see more of the actual Great Wall versus some of my other photos. You can't really see what I'm taking a picture of.
And this was your first trip with this camera, right?
Yes.
What kind of camera did you get?
Canon DSLR.
And how do you feel about that decision?
We'll see if my photos get better.
So, about the same time that I was deciding on whether or not to get a GoPro or my own DSLR for my purposes, which is more like for web streaming and, taking it and put my pocket and other things, it seems like if I used it as often as I should, that was a decision for me. And you went with the digital camera. I wanted to get one.
Yeah.
But.
Well, I definitely think the photos took like the quality that I was looking for, because as much fun as I think the GoPro is, like the type of photos that I'm looking to take for this vacation, the DSLR was a better decision for me. Like GoPro is like, I want to go on vacation and go jump in the ocean and do crazy fun stuff and take it to Coachella and hold it over the crowd. DSLR, I don't want to do that. I didn't want to bring it to Coachella. I mean, I did because I wanted to take photos, but then I was like, it's going to be cumbersome to
carry around.
And also at the house, if we don't know everyone, I don't want to leave a brand new camera there.
So it was easy to tote around though. So
no, I mean relatively, but I also knew I was going to be with a tour group and I was going to stick out as a tourist, so I wasn't as concerned about having like a smaller compact camera that wouldn't alert everyone to me, because I was like, I'm already going to stick out, so it's fine if I have a camera hanging around my neck.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you could do like have lanyards done so you look like your event like press or something like that.
Just carry my Coachella pass and be like, I'm with the press.
Yeah. They're like, what? You probably you gave up your wristband. I was like, you probably still had your wristband on.
But when I flew back from Shanghai, I remember I told you that like I saw
people with them. Oh yeah, musicians.
In line, and so I was like, they're definitely in a band or something because I can see the tag. You should have sat with them with your camera out and act like you were part of the entourage. So what else? So the camera's easy to lug around. You're with the tourist group. You're at the Great Wall of China. So you can see right here where I'm standing, like just people, and it's clear here.
So we're looking at a range. Are these hills or mountain ranges? Like what?
Yeah, mountain ranges. So it goes here, and then you get to the different sections.
Now, this wall, what size of section did you guys walk? Like, do you know like how many miles it was?
I do not.
I mean, not the entire Great Wall. Obviously, you didn't like walk the whole thing, but how long would you say you guys were there?
They gave us only an hour and a half.
Okay, so that's 2 miles maybe walking and taking pictures, right? 4 miles maybe?
I doubt I went that far because I was with my mom and everyone else, and I kind of at one point was just like, I'm gonna keep going. I don't know how far you guys want to go, but I don't know if I'm ever coming back, so I'll just meet you back at the meeting spot. So I took off, but then I met back up with them probably after an hour because I wanted to make sure I could find them and get back to the other meeting spot.
Right.
And be on time because it was the first day, so I'm like, I don't want to get separated. And actually, my mom's friend, so my family friend uncle, got separated from us because he did the same thing. He didn't want to wait for everyone, and he, I guess, got turned around at the bottom and ended up getting in a cab and went away. And so when we were supposed to all meet back up, he wasn't there, and everyone's like, where did he go? Where is he? Like, why isn't he at the meeting spot?
He got sold into sex trafficking.
So the guides are like counting everyone. We're like, wait, someone's missing.
Right.
We don't know where he is. And, our cell phones don't work there. Everybody's turned their phones off. So you can't just text or call someone like, hey, where are you? Why aren't you at the meeting spot? It's, in our society today, we're very reliant on that. Somebody's not where they're supposed to be, or you're, texting your entire progress. Like, I'm almost here. I'm around the corner. I'm standing in front of this store. Like, you don't have to. Even like when we were kids, it'd be like, okay, I'll meet you at this store at this time. And we figured it out. But now it's, I don't know where you're at. And you have to text the entire process.
Well, that's one thing too. You had to be a person of your word back in the day because there was no texting or calling on your way to be like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna make it, or this popped up, or this that. Like, if you and I, like yesterday, for example, you knew that I needed to be in LA around 8 or so, which means that I would have to have left San Diego around 6 or so. So if this was back in the day, I would have called you, or you would have called me at 6 and said, okay, I'm going to start making my way. I'll be there by 8. But if anything happened from San Diego to LA, like, you just wouldn't know. Like, you would just, like, at 8 o'clock or 8:10, 8:15, you'd be staring at the door, looking out the window, like, where is this dude? Whereas nowadays, like, I could have been 30 minutes in and be like, oh, you know what? I had too much fun at Cinco de Mayo. I'm not really feeling it. Do you mind if I just, like, turn around and go home? I just think that you had to have been more accountable back in the day.
Right.
So, like, the situation you're talking about here is if you're going to break away, like you said, you have to make sure that you're back in time to meet up with everybody because you need to go to the next place. There's no texting. But that's the other thing too, is I know like when I worked for T-Mobile, you could use it in China. It was 10 cents a minute for calls. It's unlimited internet and unlimited text messaging, I believe. So like,
it's possible, but most of us didn't have the international plan. And
fucking with that AT&T shit.
Not even that, but I was like, looking forward to not having a phone for 2 weeks.
Which is something else we've been talking about a lot. Is actually Nicole's been really good about keeping me off of my phone, and now that we go to shows and stuff, she's made it a good point to be like, hey, check it out, like, I think I want to Snapchat this. You know, instead of just grabbing the phone and documenting the whole thing on internet, you actually pick your moments. You know what I mean? That's actually helped me too, because we were at that show on Wednesday night and I got maybe just a little too Snapchat or camera happy, and I did stand out. And then I started noticing all the other people in front of us in line. It's like, yeah, it kind of ruins the experience when people are just holding up their camera the whole time. It looks pretty goofy.
Yes, but that is your favorite shot to take at a show too, is to zoom in on somebody else.
Yeah, I like to take pictures of other people taking pictures. Anyways, but yeah, so part of the experience for you was that being able to cut off from your phone, which is kind of like the whole Coachella experience too, because you can never get a phone call or a text message in properly. So that's always fun. I think I want to do that. I want to try. I'm gonna see if I can get like a flip phone or like a candy bar style phone and see if I can do that like while I'm out and about to try to be more present. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It should be interesting.
I mean, it's hard because as much as I push it too, I know when I'm by myself, like at my apartment here, I'm like constantly scrolling on my phone and I'm like, what did I just waste 30 minutes of my time doing? Like I could have been doing calligraphy. I could have been reading a book. I could have been outside taking a walk. Like when I was in China, I didn't have access to my phone, and like granted I was on a tour and I was constantly doing things, but I never once was like, oh my god, I miss having my phone, or like being able to read some article online. Like I don't care. I was able to check in with friends like periodically here and there when I was able to jump on Wi-Fi, and so that was cool, but aside from that, I didn't miss it. And when I came back and I was like, oh, I can access Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat again, and I like caught up, I was like, I really didn't miss anything. Right.
You know, and also being somebody who wanted to like catch up with you, whenever you text messaged me and it came through, it was like exciting, like, oh, she's at Wi-Fi, like, you know, I got to jump on it now. There's a sense of urgency to message you. So I think that in the event that, let's say, we experimented and we got off of our smartphones while we were out and about, and then you only did your social media when you got home, I imagine like it would probably, there'd be more value placed in those exchanges. You know what I mean? You wouldn't be so inundated with BS that it would probably be like relatively good quality conversations or pictures and things. Like I could take my GoPro, like if I wanted to go like tonight, for example, I don't necessarily need my iPhone. If I had like a flip phone and my GoPro, I could take pictures with the GoPro, put that in one pocket, you know, if I wanted to take pictures, which are going to be better than my iPhone. And then when I get home, I can upload the photos to Instagram, Facebook, or whatever. But there wouldn't be that whole, like, as I'm watching the show, editing my filters and then putting a caption, and then like you take yourself away for a good 45 seconds to a minute and a half of the show, and you never know what you're going to miss, you know?
Right. And I think China was a very good lesson for me in that our society or our generation, I don't know, just we live in a world so full of distractions, and you don't realize it because that's normal.
Right.
And I know how much I push against it because I'm like, I don't like this, but I get caught up in it too. So it's not, while I'm trying to push it, I'm trying to practice what I preach. It's also hard because that's what everybody else is doing. So it's really hard if you're like at a table where everybody's concerned with being on their phone.
Right.
That you're like, I don't want to do that, but I feel like awkward sitting here and nobody's talking to me. So then you jump on your phone too.
Right.
So when I was there and nobody was on their phone because we're all interested in what's going on, and like we can't get on our phone, so everybody is like talking to each other when we have like downtime. It was just a very good lesson for me, and like, this is really what I want to cultivate in my life, and this is really what I need to practice. And you build better connections with people, and it's more fulfilling for me. For me, it's more fulfilling to my soul and to my life than like scrolling away for 40 minutes on my phone. And everyone's different. Whatever makes you happy, great. The way our society is now doesn't make me happy, so I have to find a way to be more of what I want.
Right. Yeah, and especially like we were talking about earlier, like if you're not into it, why force yourself to mess around with social media and those things? I find it's distracting for me because I talk a lot and I'm so like ADD about stuff. What I was telling you earlier, is like we'll talk about something and then we were looking at mugs, right? And instead of having a conversation of these awesome mugs that this cafe had that we were eating at, instead of being like, oh, let's talk about why we think these mugs are interesting and cool. What did I do? I was like on Google searching for mugs that look similar. What do you think they would be? Blah, 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 blah. So instead of just having that moment where we just enjoyed someone's creative approach at coffee mugs, we ended up skimming through web pages, you know, and then totally lost track of the conversation. When your suggestion was, why don't you ask the bartender where they come from? Have a conversation with him about it, you know? But no, instead we decided to we're not associating or socializing with the staff because we're going to try, or I'm trying to get the answers off of my phone. Whereas back in the day, you know, maybe he could have told me about the coffee mugs if he had to be the information giver. If he was the source of information and people didn't Google it, he probably would have to know where they got them. He would probably have to know some little bit of background on them. Because he probably would have been asked a bunch of times, versus now we're just so self-sufficient with our information that you're not really required to be aware like that. Does that make sense? Like for me,
but I don't even know if it's so much that you need to be self-sufficient as everybody just has everything available at their fingertips. So there is no need to retain any of that information because you can just look anything up at your own whim, which is great in a way, but also incredibly annoying.
Yeah.
And even like we talked about this at Coachella, I feel like this is the Coachella that I've been the most present because for as many concerts and shows as I go to, I'm always like, there's a part of me that wants to document it too, and not necessarily the whole thing, but I know that there have been times where I'm like, oh my god, I'm recording this whole song and this is obnoxious, and people are, all you see is phones. And it's like, I want to record this because this is so amazing. But then I started thinking, like, this is really taking away from the experience for me. Like, I'm recording it so I have it for later, but, like, my memory of it is not that great because I'm not so immersed in it. So I even found myself this year at Coachella being like, oh, my God, I'm so into this. And then thinking, not even thinking, like, I want to get a picture of this or I want to record this because I was just so involved in the moment and I was just so enraptured, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, that I just didn't even think about, like, I want to record this. Lorde came out with Disclosure. Sam Smith came out with Disclosure. And I recorded a little bit of Sam Smith because I was like, I manifested this. This is what I wanted. This is amazing.
Yeah, no, you definitely called it. You're like, I think, or you said, I think you text messaged me. I wish I had the text message, but you said something to the effect of, that would be cool if Sam Smith, Lorde, and then somebody else. You said maybe. I think you had maybe 3 people. But anyways, as they came out, I was like, Jesus. I was like, is this the mushrooms that I'm on? Or did she really predict this? She really called it. And Jeremy did the same thing. Was it Jeremy or... See, look, there you go. I don't even remember who I was standing next to for Calvin Harris when he had the cameos coming out. But whoever I was standing next to was like, as soon as like the first note hit, was like, oh, that'd be cool if Big Sean popped up. And then Big Sean pops up. And I was like, what? I mean, what is going on right now? Okay. And I was like, dude, that'd be dope if like Rihanna showed up. And all of a sudden Rihanna's on stage. I'm like, what is happening between Nicole and this other person? Am I just clueless? You know what I mean? Or is this my friends just, are they really tapped in? Is it the drugs? I don't know. But yeah, that's one of those moments. Like Sam Smith Disclosure, that's gotta be a reoccurring thing at festivals. Like you gotta drop that in there. I know he came
out with them before, like 2
years ago.
Yeah, and he performed a lot. But Omen came out last summer because I was really hoping that maybe Disclosure was going to come out with Sam Smith at Outside Lands, and that didn't happen. But that was a current song. So I was like, I don't know what the odds are of Sam Smith coming out to Coachella again. I was like, Lorde is possible because Magnets is it's a pretty big one. Current. So it's possible, but like who knows what kind of set they're going to do. And then she came out. I think Aluna George came out. Aloe Black, maybe?
Maybe. It's foggy for me around that time period. But it's funny because like we've seen... Like it's almost like whether they're doing their own set or they're cameoing on somebody else's set, it seems to be like Ellie, Lord, Disclosure, Sam Smith. Like when you're going to festivals, the festivals that we go to, Coachella, Outside Lands, it just kind of seems like they're just still, they're in circulation. You know what I mean? Like you kind of can expect them to show up, which is fine. Calvin Harris too. I think I was talking to Jeremy about a festival, and I was like, I think Calvin Harris headlined that. He's like, you always think Calvin Harris is there, and we looked at it, and like he headlined. Was it you? Yeah. And I was like, see, I know, like he's. I mean, no, I'm not mad that Calvin Harris pops up everywhere we go, but it's like, yeah, they're kind of like the circuit of a festival.
I think it was Hard, Day of the Dead, and I was like, no, he wasn't the headliner, and you're like, I'm pretty sure he was. I'm like, I don't think so, and then we looked and you were right.
Yeah, but arguably Destructo I think probably was my favorite, and not Calvin Harris of that weekend. But we got anyways, yeah, we had a lot of fun at that one. But back to China. Sorry. So we're looking at now, so you've got some pottery or something like that. How did they
So this is cloisonne, and it says that this is an ancient technique for decorating metalwork objects.
And that's CLOISONNE. And what's the definition of that?
An ancient technique for decorating metalwork objects. So they take bronze.
Okay.
And
stamp it. So we're looking at what looks like it's like a bronze, like what would you call that? Vase, and it has pretty detailed actually, you know what, I could probably move this GoPro so if anybody wants to see what it looks like. So it's pretty detailed. I don't know, what is that design? What would you say that is? What's going on the side of that vase?
So this part might be where they're etching it out to detail it, and then they'll paint it with all. So there's all these different little plates of color.
Okay.
And so you can see that she's painting flowers. So we're in the factory and just. Oh, that's.
Oh no, we could see it. Yeah, we could see it though.
So this is the end result.
Ah.
So they're like lacquered vases.
Okay.
And decorative pieces. And I obviously like all of the messy artwork because
it reminds you
like
of your work.
Process. And
no,
this
those
is
are
where
cool.
it's being fired. So where it's being glazed. This
wow.
one just came out. I'm pretty proud of this photo. I was like, oh my gosh, I got it. It looks cool.
So yeah, it looks like magma. So we're looking at the vase as it's cooling off, right? And so it's super red from heat, and it's glowing in a sense. That's pretty cool. So the picture that what we're looking at is a glowing red vase next to a cooled off one. So you have like this super contrasting colors. You have one that's like just a plain stone gray with this like super illuminated hot lava red vase. It's a pretty cool picture. She did good, guys, with her brand new camera. Which picture was it?
This was a very fleeting moment. So
this was like on the run.
They don't come out and stay red for. I mean, it's a couple seconds that you can get this shot. So
is it kind of like that moment at Krispy Kreme when the donuts come out of the oven, everybody runs over, the hot signs on?
You can see here where it's already cooling down, and it's turning bronze.
That's pretty cool.
I don't quite know what this was a shot of, and the window's really dirty, so you can't see the machinery. And this is still part of the process.
Oh, wow.
And then this is like the end result once it's been painted and colored and then fired.
So this is stuff.
Some of the stuff in the store.
So there's a storefront and a factory in it, so you can see the process and then you can purchase the things.
Yes.
So what is the cost of one of these custom made panda vases that we're looking at, or these plates?
I honestly don't remember because they're really beautiful, but I have no use for them in my place, so I didn't even ask. Really look. They are pretty expensive, and obviously you have to have it shipped back. So the larger ones are probably like at least a couple $100.
Oh wow! I would have taken it on as my carry-on, wrapped it in bubble wrap.
You can see the intricate detail, and they're really pretty. I just wasn't sure. I'm like, what am I going to do with it, like, in my apartment?
Yeah. I'm that guy, though. If there's a gift shop somewhere that I'm going, I'm, like, going to get something.
I did buy some Christmas ornaments, and those were maybe they ended up with the conversion being like $7 per ornament.
That's not that bad. Look at these girls, though. They're working on this stuff, and they've got iPhones and earbuds. I'm wondering, did you let them know to subscribe to my podcast? So maybe I could have some new Chinese listeners while they're over there making this.
Quite sure they wouldn't understand anyways.
It's mandatory if you're going to be a guest on my podcast that you have to plug it shamelessly everywhere that you go.
But if they don't speak English, I'm not sure why you'd listen to.
They just like the sound of my voice.
Okay. Next time I go to China, I'll be sure to plug that.
So where are we at in the picture roll? So we know that you had an evolution, right? So there you took 1,800 photos.
This is still day one.
So this is still day one. So this is...
this is outside. This is the man that's etching up the Great Wall onto, I guess, a piece of tile. And it looks so cool. You can see like the other photos, and I was kind of mesmerized by this because he was just using the tool and like hitting it into the tile, and here's the end result.
So almost like so he's just doing it like dot by dot, pixel by pixel, almost like the old school way of tattooing where they kind of just the dot method. I don't know what that's called.
Yeah.
But so that's like the biggest.
See right here, it's just a point. So he's just.
That's incredible. Well, yeah, it's looking like it's in grayscale. It's really intricate, like each stone, all the detail. That's pretty cool. So is that like the biggest, what would you call it, commerce? Like when you're out there at the Great Wall, it's just basically tons of people doing Great Wall related art or something that's traditional Chinese and selling it to tourists?
We were at the Cloisonne factory.
Okay.
So we weren't even at the Great Wall.
Oh,
anymore.
Okay. I thought this was all. I thought we were looking at stuff that was like people at the Great Wall, like selling stuff and creating there.
Same day, but no longer there.
Is this your buddy that's driving this tractor here? What's the significance of what we're looking at here?
I just thought it was interesting that when we're along, they don't have freeways; they have toll roads. But this would be essentially the equivalent of our freeway. Mm-hmm. It's just on a tractor. Like there's just cars and buses, and also people are on bicycles everywhere. And there's, like in beach cities, they have like bike lanes and bike paths, but those are away from automobiles. In China, it's a lane right next to it, so we'd be on the tour bus and you just see like tons of bicycles next to you, and the traffic, it was just crazy. They would just go, and I mean later there's a photo where we crossed the street. We had some time to ourselves and we crossed the street in a busy intersection, and literally I got separated from my mom, and there was a car right in front of me, and like someone else was behind me, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm gonna get run over in China. Oh no. Is China one of those countries where they have like those crazy like dash cam videos where like people are just like running over pedestrians and crashing into each other? I don't think so. They've said that there's not too many traffic accidents because people are driving slow enough that they just kind of stop, and like the scooters or the bicycles go around them. But it's definitely much different from what we're used to. Right. Is that a rickshaw? Kind of. I mean, when we were in the bus, I was taking random photos of like, oh, hey, it seems like we're on a really busy road, and there's just somebody walking down the road, and there's a little pedicab rickshaw. So your tour bus has to go around these like just random people that are in the road? They're just on like the side of the road, but still, it seemed weird. So how did your mom like the trip? Was she in good spirits the whole time? I mean, I don't know, some people when they're traveling, especially in groups like that, there can be times where like people might get under each other's skin. Did you guys have any moments? The whole time. Yeah. There were no fights. I think by the end of the trip, maybe by like day 10, there were a couple times where we would check into a hotel at 10 p.m. and then we'd have to get up and leave by like 6:30 or 7. So all your stuff has to be packed. So you like shower, repack all your stuff, put it outside the door, and they take it, and then you just have your carry-on. So that is tough, living out of a bag.
for like,
As you can tell everyone.
right, 2.5 weeks. I've been living out of like my trunk for forever, I feel like.
Right. So you're familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just when we got tired, we weren't like fighting, but it was just kind of like, I really need my own space. So when we're on the bus, like, let me sit by myself. And
Right. Collect my thoughts.
yeah.
Listen to the Adventures of Michael Lee podcast.
I really need downtime. So
Mm-hmm.
it was hard because you're with each other 24/7.
Right.
So there was just some moments where I was like, I'm really tired and really grumpy, so I need to be by myself for like an hour.
Right. And it's not like you guys are pumping it up too, like partying, having a good time. Like you're in buses, you're walking in groups to other, you know, places like this, factories and the Great Wall and things like that. So, you know, that whole like engagement and like socializing and blowing off steam with other people, I'm sure that wasn't going on. There's a language barrier. There's other groups you don't want to get separated. So you're kind of like leaning on your people,
Right.
your group the whole time. How many of you guys went out there from your friends and family?
There was a group of 8 of us. So it was me, my mom, and then like 3 other couples, 2 of them that I know that are family friends, like aunt and uncles, and then the other one, I guess they had met me when I was a baby, but I don't obviously remember that.
Isn't that always the weirdest too? They're like, I remember when you were this small. And it's like, in the history of everybody ever saying that, it never really matters to the person who was small. You know what I mean? Like, I used to change your diapers. Cool, bro. It's kind of weird. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, you've seen my goods, man. My baby goods. And I feel like I'm just meeting you right now. I feel like I mean, I don't know anybody, I think, yet at that point where I'd be like, I used to change your diapers. I remember when you were this big. But I'm probably, when I get to that age, I'm not going to be. But I mean, I'm sure, but I don't think I'm going to say that because, like, I'm actively, you know, a participant in their lives. But I'm like, I'm trying to think, is there any, like, strange babies that I've babysat or
strange babies.
Yeah, strange babies. I've been like checking under the hood and changing diapers, and I'm gonna see them as an adult and be like, I remember.
Ex-girlfriends?
Yeah, we could probably that. Probably, yeah. That's probably about a good like maybe 15 years away from that happening, I guess.
So this is a pagoda. This was inside.
Is that Abe Pagoda? Get it? It's a bad joke.
This is jade. It's all the detailed, intricate.
Is that jade on the ceiling?
No.
That's just the color.
Yeah. But these pillars, there's like no nails. They're just, I can't think of the word, but you know those blocks that kids.
Oh, like Lincoln logs,
Yes.
where they're. So we're looking at the interior, the architecture of the pagoda. So it's what would you call it? Like a temple in a sense.
Yeah.
It's a temple made of wood. So there's wood beams in the ceilings, like you would in a log cabin.
How high they are. It's just what I was fully blown away by is this is ancient pagodas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they constructed all of these things with the means that they had. So this is one solid piece of wood, and then the beams are there, and you think about all the things that we construct with modern technology, and they had no modern technology.
Oh wow.
So it's hard for us to grasp the idea of how these things were created and put together. And
yeah, I would imagine like a lot of like pulleys and rope and things like that to try to like. I'm sure they had to map it out, right? They're obviously like really good with math.
Engineered somehow.
Engineers, yeah. They just we're just so used to having like hydraulics and stuff like that all these machines and tractors and things that can just lift and move in insane amounts of weight, and these guys had to have some pretty elaborate systems to get this stuff to happen because like you said, it's not like metal beams and drywall and things like that. These are legit like logs that are standing, what would you say, like almost looks like 30 feet, maybe 40 feet? I don't know. How tall are these people? If that's, yeah, I mean, that's pretty big. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out a way to share screens to do this next time. I'm using the GoPro for people who are listening and not watching, but trying to put the GoPro on her computer so we could see it. But This is the first time that I've been able to stream live not using Periscope. This is using YouTube. What I'd like to do is figure out a way that, well, I already know that there's a way to share my screen or to put a slideshow up on the YouTube clip so people could kind of follow along. I don't know. So where are you at right now? What's
This is just traveling further back to pagodas. Oh, I think this was an emperor's tomb that we're going to. Is it sad that I went to so many places I can't even remember?
Oh, I would imagine so. I mean, we were just talking about...
Here's the tomb.
Okay. And is homeboy in there?
Pagodas are leading up to the tomb. He's underground.
He's underground. Where all my favorite MCs are.
So this is the view of another pagoda from the tomb that we were at.
Okay.
And I think in this photo there was maybe one out here, but I can't really tell.
So you're up in like these mountain ranges where these pagodas are. Did you run across any like neighborhoods where people are actually like living around there, or is it all just
Farmland?
All farmland?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it'd be kind of like going to like, I don't know, what would you equate it to here in the States? What would you, like the terrain? Are we talking like Lake Tahoe, or is it more like Washington State? Like that, as far as those hills go, those mountains and the wood, like was there forests? Like, or was it flatland? Because like, you know, as you're traveling to and from these places, what's it like out there? Stockton, California?
Definitely not. But I can't really think of a place that it reminded me of.
Okay.
This is a picture of my mom and I in a rickshaw. So we went to an ancient or an old town, Hutong, and it's built. There were no cars, so the roads are too small for cars. So you have to get in a rickshaw, and that's how you have to get to and from. And so they took us to a family's home, and so they took the whole group in different rickshaws.
So it's like a fleet of rickshaws?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it would have taken 4 rickshaws for 8 people, right?
Yes, but our entire tour group was like 33 people.
Oh, dang.
On our bus. So our driver took this photo of us, and I took like maybe like 100 photos along the way, because I was like, this is crazy. There's so many of us, and
right.
It's so narrow. So you can see.
It's they look like golf carts, but instead of...
And what's funny is they're taking you in this like old town, right? But all the rickshaw drivers are like, oh, can I have your camera so I can take a photo of you? And I mean, everybody wants photos of the experience, but It's funny that like it's this preserved like old town part of this city, and they're like, but let me take your photo. So there's the whole like lineup, and here we all go. Wow.
So they never redid the roads. So the roads are probably like the equivalent of the size. What it looks like to me is like Disneyland, like you know, where they have like the electric light parade, like when like that's pretty narrow, right?
Probably would that be like more narrow than that.
Damn.
And in some sections on the outside, like there's cars, and I guess some parts of it there's cars. So I'm like, dude, we're gonna get hit by a car. I was taking photos the whole time because I was like, what the hell is going on? This is scary and exciting and interesting and just so different from anything that we experience here.
Were there any young people? I mean, looking at these pictures, I see like everybody seems to be a little bit older. Were there any like, seems like there's any young blood running around having a good time?
I think we passed some kids like coming out of school.
Oh, wow.
So now, I mean, here you could see the cars, but here you can see how narrow it's getting.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty narrow. It almost looks like how narrow it is between the houses in Mission Beach where I live.
And I took a photo of my driver wearing like
Chinese Toms.
Yeah, the original OG Toms, where Tom's got the idea from.
Dude, I lost a Tom the other day, and I don't know if I'm gonna get new ones because as I look around. Well, there's a Tom's here in Venice, right? Didn't we go to that Tom's store like on Abbot Kinney? But I think Toms have gone the way of the Croc. I think it's back to rainbow flip flops.
Into those.
Yeah,
and I make fun of you, and then.
I mean, I'm a trendy dude. But yeah, I really loved my Crocs, but they don't sell them at I went to a PacSun. They didn't sell them there anymore, and like most of the stores I went to, they don't have them. So I think I mean, I'm always have Vans, slip-ons, and flip-flops. Rainbows is usually what I go with. So,
Yeah.
you know, we're not without. But goddamn, a good pair of broken-in Toms are great.
So this is when we went to see the family's home. They had like a well with little baby koi fish and people throwing coins in there. And they had bunnies, which they said weren't for food, that they were pets, but they had like 6 bunnies. So I'm not sure how much I believe that, but since I like animals, I took photos of them.
Oh, yeah. So what was the food like? I mean,
Well, everything that we ate was pretty much like Western Chinese food, so it wasn't anything too crazy. It was like, it was different. I thought that there might have been more banquet style Chinese food, and there wasn't. And randomly, we'd be somewhere and they'd give us like a plate of French fries, I guess just to appease white people.
Yeah. Comfort food.
It didn't seem weird to me because I'm Chinese, so I'm like, I'm totally used to eating this and like eating family style all the time.
Right.
But I haven't eaten that much rice.
White rice as well.
Yeah.
You didn't try to pull like the LA thing, like, do you have any brown rice or quinoa? I'm looking for a wild grain medley.
So eating rice at like lunch, dinner, even breakfast sometimes, but the continental breakfasts were like crazy because they'd have Chinese food, so they'd have like baos and vegetables, and then they'd have like Western food, so then they'd have toast and like Danishes, muffins, and then they'd have like noodles. So anytime there was noodles, I was like, I'm having noodles for breakfast. Like, this might be kind of unconventional, but
get me away from the rice.
I love noodles, so I'm gonna have like wonton soup for breakfast or ramen for breakfast.
Dude, can we have ramen? Can we do ramen before Cascade?
We could, but do you want to load up on that much sodium before you go to a show?
Well, we could do it afterwards, but I tend to embarrass you when we go to ramen late night around here.
Yes, but also if I drive, we can go after instead of trying to persuade the Uber driver to take us.
Okay, that's a good point.
Oh, this is really cool that we saw a lot of places. I can't remember what this is called. Actually, no, I think this is called snuff painting.
Not to be confused with snuff films. What are we looking at here?
So it's glass.
Okay.
And they paint it from the inside.
Oh, wow. So how is that happening?
I have no idea, but it's amazing and it looks really cool. And they're really tiny. So these are little tiny vases and these are little teapots, and they put like letters and characters. There's a lot of like pandas or fish or bamboo, plum flowers or cherry blossoms. It's pretty interesting art.
I imagine it probably involved like curved brushes, right? So it could like go inside and then turn in, and then you would kind of like a like when a dentist works on your teeth, like with the hooks. You know what I mean? You can't go straight. You have to kind of come in at an angle.
But the artistic control is pretty impressive and beautiful.
Okay. Just doing a time check here. It's 4:50. We've been doing this for an hour. Just making sure.
Too much for one podcast.
Not too much for one podcast, but because I mean, we can go 2-3 hours, but I just didn't know what we wanted to do, prepare to get ready for the show. If we wanted to change, shower, eat, whatever.
Yeah. This was interesting to me because this is the kitchen. And so my grandparents have like a kitchen out in their garage, which is similar to this, like the hood, the kind of like gas range with the wok and bare bones. But I was like, oh, that's grandpa's kitchen, even though my grandfather passed away when I was 3, but it was like sometimes my grandma would cook out there, and it was just the second kitchen that was in the garage, which is weird, I guess, to American.
But Americans have grills in their backyard. It's kind of the same thing, right? They're actually just making it cooler and putting it inside.
I guess.
Inside the house.
I don't know, but like to see this wasn't
unfamiliar.
Correct.
Like, it was a very familiar thing to see an outdoor, which looks like to me it could be a barbecue grill, like a tabletop barbecue grill, but it's inside of a garage, right?
This wasn't inside a garage, but like my grandpa had one in his garage.
So you're used to the setup.
Yeah.
So what is? Did you pick up any tricks? Like, you think you picked like up a couple levels in your walk game? Like if we had a walk, you think you could throw some shit together here?
There's no cooking. My mom wouldn't let me eat any of the street food because the water is not clean there, and so she was not sure. And the tour group had also sent out an email saying that we shouldn't eat anything
Off the street.
because we don't know where it's grown, like what kind of water it's grown in or what kind of water it's been cleaned in, and what water's been used to clean the knives and the cutlery, and because our stomachs aren't used to it, like we could get really sick.
Yeah.
She was like, you absolutely cannot eat anything off the street.
So it was
which
all
was hard because sometimes we'd pass like noodles or something, and I'm like, I really want that.
Right.
That smells really good.
So where did you eat primarily?
Because we were on a tour, they would take us to restaurants that were like pre-approved.
Chipotle, In-N-Out Burger.
Totally. That were all part of the tour, so that's probably why the same menu kept popping up. That's
Right.
kind of standard westernized Chinese food that people eat and isn't too weird. But as with anything, like I can't eat the same thing
Right.
for lunch and dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 2 weeks without getting sick of it.
What were the meats that they were giving you? Was it like primarily chicken?
A lot of chicken. There would be like fried fish, sometimes duck, but not a lot. Not a lot of pork and not a lot of beef because those are more expensive meats.
Right. I wouldn't imagine the cows were really hanging out there. Harris Ranch. Were they getting married?
I'm not sure. I was
Looks like
just
a wedding
taking
dress.
photos of all the people as we were cruising through. Oh, here's someone with a face mask because of the pollution in Beijing.
Man, what a tough environment if you have to like wear a mask because the pollution is just killing you. I could not imagine. I mean, LA probably isn't that great either. I know where I'm at in San Diego. I was actually surprised at how many stars I could see from the beach because of even just with light pollution. You know what I mean? It's tough nowadays to see it. Could you see the stars through the pollution when you were there?
No, but we were always in big cities, so we were never out like in the countryside where that would have
been a thing.
Yeah.
Right. What about sunsets with the pollution? Like, you know how they say like LA has great sunsets because of the smog, or at least it did.
There was one night in Beijing where I thought that the sunset was starting to get pretty, and then we were on the go, so it set so fast I couldn't really see it.
What was it different as far as like the sun setting? Like I know when I lived in England in the winter, I swear it got dark by like 4 or 5 o'clock, and then in the summertime it seemed to have been the sun was up till like 10, 11. Like was there a difference for you there in China as far as like when the sun set and when it rose?
It seemed like it rose earlier because we were getting up pretty early on the trip, around like 6:30 or 7 every morning, and there was always daylight. I don't remember ever getting up and it being dark. Like sometimes I get up here for work and it's still dark out.
Right.
But I think the sunset usually around like 7 or 8, so like pretty normal.
Yeah, that's pretty normal because I know, like I said, I went golfing this week. We had a 6:30 tee time, and it was the sun was well up by 6:30, so I'd imagine like 5:45, 6 o'clock. And then I do pay attention to sunset because in my neighborhood, it starts to get really busy around sunset because people are off work and they want to like take pictures or walk on the yeah. So I know what it picks up like around 7:30ish is sunset. So that's about standard for us West Coasters. That's a pretty rad scooter bike that dude's got there.
So a lot of people had these I guess just to protect yourself from rocks, debris, pollution, whatever, to protect their hands or maybe keep their hands warm when it's cold.
Right.